Did you miss me? When I'm back. You know who it is. African Ollie all day. See, haters don't really hate you. They hate themselves because you're a reflection of what they wish to be. It's the boy with the accent. I made it to the top. I made it to the top. I made it to the top. I know you're mad you're not. I made it to the top. 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 I know you're mad you're not. I made it to the top. I made it to the top. I made it to the top. I know you're mad you're not.
What's up, what it is, what it do? It's your boy Ollie here. I know it's been some years, I had to change some gears. I'm back like I never left, champ like Michael Phelps. I had to make some changes, even some big arrangements. Still dedicated to you, still committed to you. You believed all along, you listened to all my songs. You're the reason I'm here, and I am so sincere. Send love to all my fans from the US to Japan. I hope you understand, I want you as a fan. I just wanna represent you the best way that I can, because I know I can. My life really just began. Just wait until you hear what just changed in 1 year. No more 9 to 5, no more overtime. Just living a good life with my wife by my side. My mama's doing good, I got up out the hood, but still keeping it real. My new life is surreal. Different cars for different days, my accounts will amaze. My watch and suits are flashy, I'm looking so crazy. It's most definitely a blessing from our God that I get a chance to share this story with you in this song.
I made it to the top. I made it to the top. I made it to the top. I know you're mad you're not. I made it to the top. 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 I know you're mad you're not. I made it to the top. I made it to the top. I made it to the top. I know you're mad you're not.
They say give me that, cause I give them what they need. It's like a chain reaction, like a wave in the sea. If they see it, then they see it. When I write it and they please, it don't take more than thought to have all that I need. I'ma make it to the top, don't be mad that you're not. Take your life in your hands and roll and never stop. Your destiny's what you make it, take the chance and make it hot. Cause I did, and I tell you making money can't be topped. Cause they see you and they tell you you getting it. Tell you how they mad cause they hate that they sitting in. Fundamentally there's no obstacles to getting rich. You gotta commit to not being broke and live for this you. Then you fly, rise, glide, climb, glide, we going up.
I made it to the top. I made it to the top. I made it to the top. I know you're mad you're not. I made it to the top. 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 Don't let nobody tell you you can't make it. Don't let nobody tell you you won't make it. Don't let nobody judge you. Don't let nobody take your dreams away from you. From homeless to success, I am a self-made baby. You laughed. You said I couldn't do it. You said you only say me no English. 5 languages going strong. To the top, baby. I wave to you.
And then you fly.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Ali Mehdaoui in the building with a brand new installment of the TheMEshow. You might have seen some shenanigans. We were actually jamming to an old school track. It's old school now. There will be new music coming out. But I got in the building an incredible, amazing human being that I'm going to really spend a whole lot of time. We're going to be reminiscing, and we're going to be splitting the beans, and we're going to be talking about some stories from back in the day. Many of you may not know about the history of this guy. He once upon a time, he thought he was a gangsta rapper, and then he realized that you're better than that. And the man that's in the building, in the studio with me right now, kind of helped me create a sense of an identity for myself as who I am as an artist. And we're also going to talk about life and different vantage points. And I do know for a fact that he's going to bring a lot of passionate points of his. He is a gentleman that I've known since 2002. He's a gentleman that I went to high school with. He's a gentleman that I've recorded music with. He's a gentleman that I've seen, and he has seen me become parents, become adults, do life, become entrepreneurs, work hard. He's dabbled in a nonprofit organization side of things. He went to Africa. He's just done a whole lot. And he also brought a guest with him, which we're going to hear about, because from what I understand, anyone that figures out the entrepreneurial side of things, you're my kind of guy and you belong in the building. So ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, my man, the man, the myth, the legend right here, Ja Beats, aka Josh Stepney, aka my brother from another mother, aka the man who called me African before anybody. Here's the thing, real talk. This dude right here, straight up, in high school, like randomly, everybody's like, hello, Ali, and is like, yo, African. I'm like, what's up with this guy? I always call me African. Like, how you doing? My name is Ali. What's up, African? And I'm like, and then it stuck. When I started music, I used to call, Big Ali, and yo, African. You're African. You got to identify. You're African. Okay, right. This is before identity was a thing, right? Like before we identify as I use that from now. I identify as African. But anyways, welcome to the building, my guy. I appreciate you. I'm so grateful that we got to reconnect. It's always amazing how the microphone always connects us back somehow, some way. There hasn't been a single time in our 18, 19 years that we've known one another that the mic doesn't bring us back. And we got some exciting stuff going on. But grateful that you are here to the community of entrepreneurship. Tell us a little bit about yourself, because I want the world to know who you are as well, and then we can dig into a conversation and catch up with this dude right here.
Well, let me introduce him.
Yeah, you do it.
This guy, my guy, is one of my most inspiring artists as far as in music. I watched this guy grow, and I've been amazed at how much he was able to accomplish. With just the little that we had, we were able to really make waves. And Rob has been, his name is Rob Nice, the producer. All respect to the man in the title, the producer. And Nice is what the track level is. It's way beyond what the average is. And I've always been like amazed at like the way that he's been able to capture the emotions, capture the people's dreams inside of music, and then translate that through beats. My issue when I was growing up was I didn't know how to make beats. And this guy actually mastered it. It's not.
You did not do bad. This is the first time he tells me he doesn't know how to do beats after like 2 decades worth of music.
I try.
It's like a guy you've been riding with, and he's driving the car all this time, and then tells you like, I don't have a license.
There you go. That's what happened. Yeah, that's what happened. I didn't go to school. He went to school, graduated from Full Sail University in music production. He also has been acclaimed with music on the radio and all kinds of places.
Yeah,
he has a lot of artists he helped get to the top, and I appreciate him. The way that you appreciate me, I feel the same way about him. So that's Rob Nice, the producer.
My guy. Well, just so you know, the camera's behind you, so make sure that people get to see you. So tell us a little bit. I'll dig into your story a little bit. Yeah. When did this music start? And I know you're an entrepreneur as well, but was the music, like most of us, just like a thing that we felt good about, that we enjoyed, or was it, hey, I can actually make a living with this thing, and then it evolved into other areas?
It kind of started when I was like 2 years old. I used to bebop at the table.
2 years old.
I was 2, bebopping at the table.
So 17 years ago.
Yeah. Well, nah. I was out there, just bebopping at the table. As I got a little bit older, everybody used to be like, "Oh wow, bebop real quick." I used to do like all the beats that was out, like Chicken Head by was it 3-6 Mafia, Missy Elliott, Get Your Freak Going, all these different beats. Everybody come, hey yo, kick that beat for me, or Freak by Little Vicious. I would just bebop, and then once I turned probably like 13, 14, I used to rap at the high school football games in Virginia, and people used to give me a quarter to rap, like a jukebox. They used to give me a quarter, like, yo, rap for me. I'm like, you got a quarter? They're like, yeah, they'll give you a quarter. I walk around with a change full of quarters in my pocket just from rapping. And then once I got to like high school, my first time ever finding about like any type of doll to make beats or anything in was crazy thing is from Josh. Josh Beach is the one that showed me like, oh, this Fruity Loops. Oh yeah, I'm like, okay,
Man, Fruity Loops.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
so
It's FL Studios.
so he played the song. He like, listen to this song. It was the stripper song.
Oh yeah.
Girl, you need this. I'm
Yes,
like,
baby.
oh shoot. So I'm listening. I'm like, yo, that joint tough. He was like, yeah. I'm like, what's that?
recorded that.
Yeah,
made
what's
the
that
beat.
voice in the background? Like, that's me. I'm like,
Yeah.
so that's the first time I got introduced into Fruity Loops. So I'll say about at the age of 24, my cousins, rest in peace, Haran. My cousins, twins, Haran and Harlan, they've been doing music for a while in South Jersey and Bristol. So when I turned 24, I actually ended up moving out there, and I was running their studio. And that's when I really locked in and just started making beats. I went to Full Sail. I actually learned how to record and everything right there in their studio, just from the people that we were around. Like they were bringing in like the younger kids that they were mentoring and stuff like that. They'll bring them in. I'll record, engineer, make beats and stuff. So over a period of time, I just was in there. Next thing I look up, it's 10 years later. And I was doing every day. That's all it was. Wake up 7 o'clock in the morning.
That consistency grows within you. Yeah.
Wake up 7 o'clock in the morning. Don't get done probably till like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Wake back up at 7 again, just doing it over and over and over again.
Well, I appreciate that, because most people, I think most start from, mom's basement or, our own bedrooms, and then it just ends up being a thing that just stays behind us, right? Yeah. Me personally, the music, and this is why I always look for him. It's like random. Yo, like where are you? Like it's that time, right? Like I've worked with other individuals, and it was just like,
right.
It was no, well, they touched up the song, they edited it, right? But it was never the emotional investment that I care about what you're doing. Yes. When we got together, and the first track that caught your attention was Africa.
Right.
I had like a bunch of horribly recorded music, right? Like it was just bad. And he's like, hey man, we gotta have to redo this one right here. This one right here is like this Africa track. I like it. And then I was like, all right, cool. Then he comes back. This is what he's genius. He took the guitar and started just with the guitar itself, and then he flips it and just starts tapping, and that's how the beat was made. And then of course he got added with the drums, the hi-hats, 80.
This guy, it was real. It was real.
And then there was no one, like that was the moment, like when you get a barber and you're like, yo, you're my barber.
I'm not going to anybody else.
I don't care if I have to wait an hour and a half. I'm waiting, right?
Right.
So that's Ja, right? So it was unbelievable to see his creative genius, and whether you had a full-blown, state-of-the-art studio, or whether you had like a little 8-track, he figured out how to make it perfect. And I always appreciated that.
Yeah, I always loved that, the being able to figure it out. But one of the things that I didn't have was peace. You know what I'm saying? I never had that grounding, that peace that I saw in like your 10 years there, and your 17 years or whatever. I never felt like grounded like that. So I think my connection with music, it was so sincere and personal that those times when I connected with people, it would be so inspiring because it was real. You know what I'm saying? And it's always real for me. You know what I mean? But this guy, what he did is he took that element that we shared in that moment, and then he applied it, and he stuck with it, and actually made a career in music out of it, where I was afraid. I got opportunities to get signed and all of that kind of stuff. I could have took myself to the next.
I remember there were few times that there were things that knocked on your door, and life happens. Rich, if you still on the SoundCloud, look for another track, Africa, just to have it. And you
got it still. I want to hear.
Do I got it?
I hear it too.
You know how you can have the feature tracks? You will realize only the Ja Beats tracks are the feature track. Everything else is in the bottom, the very, very bottom. No, I have everything in there still.
How many languages was on that? Is that one?
No, universal. Yeah. The reason we called it, we don't say universal once on the track, but the reason we call it universal, music is a universal language. I speak 5 international languages, so I can rhyme from Arabic to Moroccan to French to Spanish, and I just keep going back and forth.
It's crazy,
Which we can probably look into that as well. So universal, that's another track, but again, no one identified it was never about like there's two parts of the music, right? There's the love for the music where you just feel good,
Mhm.
and then there's the money side of the music,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
With Ja, it was always like, yo, we're about to create something crazy, and it's gonna be just for me and you.
Yeah, that's what it was
We
about.
gonna love it.
Yeah,
But that's
we
the
You know,
love
energy,
it.
though.
like
That is-
oh,
Yeah.
for real.
That's
And
the energy.
many times people like, like I get tracks that people will hear like, oh, I've never heard this one. I got family members who have never heard certain tracks. Like I'm like, yeah, that was for me. That wasn't for y'all. That was for me. Like, there's a painter that paints something and
Picture.
leaves it as like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just for me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sell that one. That's the
And those are the
magic.
masterpieces, though.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah,
are the pieces
yeah.
that when
And-
you die, they can bring them out. And, then
And I'll tell you this:
Yeah.
if I play a track, if I play two different tracks,
Yeah.
you will know which one is
Which one
Ja
is for him?
and which one is
Yeah,
Ali.
somebody-
Like you can tell from the context and the lyrics itself how conscious it is
Yeah.
versus I'm just saying something to say something just to,
Right,
just to
right.
get it out, right? Like just to drop
Yeah.
a 16, right?
that's a good point.
And that was do you have Africa ready? Yeah, let's drop a little moment of Africa, and I want you to the
Reminisce.
genius that this guy is. And we're gonna dig in high school and all that stuff,
Right?
but
Yeah.
let's play a little bit of Africa and just to hear from the beginning, just that moment, and how I went from I gotta be a gangster hardcore,
Right.
all out, and then he's like, no, I want a harmony. I want you to tap into that
Yeah.
Africa.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, like what
Right.
are we doing?
No,
Listen-
JC not gonna like this.
Listen to what he did.
Africa, la terre des enfants, la terre des innocents. Africa, mon cœur est avec toi, tout l'honneur est pour toi.
الله يحفظك يا إفريقيا.
Africa, my homeland, where problems never end. They feel bad, but it's their bed. They colonized it. Back in the day, they have AIDS, people fade. No medicine has been made, and that's the case. They gotta face it, they did it with their own hands. They thought they were so advanced, cause they had powerful guns. They slaved daughters and sons. They took the young and strong. They left the weak and the old. There was nothing else to hold, no more maps to fold. A whole damn continent became a little state. They went all the way up to the Renaissance and went back there. Like Iraq for me, it's like a fever burning me like they used to burn their houses. They put them on a boat like some else's. Yeah, and I promise you, you'd have a better history. And I'm here with you to change the bad memory. Africa, Africa, let's go. La terre des enfants, la terre des innocents.
الله يحفظك يا إفريقيا.
Africa, mon cœur est avec toi, tout l'honneur est pour toi. Africa, such a
Okay, that was you gotta pay.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
So again,
Yeah.
here I am, right?
Yeah.
I'm 21, maybe 22. Yeah, I think I'm barely 21.
That was a good one.
And then I'm in Asbury, like but mind you, hold on, time out, because this is important. It's important, right? I'm trying to fit in for the first time.
Gotta be gangster.
For the first time, I'm accepted for
Right.
something that I realize I'm good at.
Yeah.
But prior to that, other than this, man, high school was terrible. Like it was just bad. Like me no English, and
Right.
one half is like laughing at you, the other half is calling you terrorist. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
You
So
know, that's deep. Because
No?
when I think about high school,
Yeah.
the reason why I was so adamant about the African name, right, is because I was in so many, like first of all, I'm on the verge myself. I'm on a fringe because I speak too well to be gangster, but I hurt somebody.
no, I'm soft.
right? No,
No, I am soft.
No.
If vanilla ice cream was melting, I would do it. All right, I am soft, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, but in
Yeah.
that period of time,
Yeah.
there's two things. This is just so you know where I connected with him for the very first time. And I don't know if you remember this or not. My first year in high school, again, fresh off the boat. My name is Ali. Year prior was 9/11, and I mean it was terrible, bro. Like everybody would make fun of you. Everybody would call you
Right.
terrorist. And I was kids, idiots.
Yeah.
And I'm always picked on and whatnot, right? And then again, I don't know if this guy remembers. He was the only one who genuinely just was a cool dude. And I'm talking about whether it was black, Spanish, white kid. He was the only one who was like,
He was always like that, though.
"What up, African?" And I'm like, I don't know. Hi, hello.
He didn't know how to take it. He didn't know how to take it for a minute.
Hold on. Yo, what up?
Right.
That's what I'm supposed to, right? So you start to identify, like, okay, I connect with this dude, right?
Yeah.
And maybe I'm supposed to speak like this dude. Maybe this is who I'm supposed to be, right? Like I'm connecting, right?
Yeah.
Then there was I forgot the kid's name. If you're watching this from high school, if I see you in the 20-year anniversary, I'm sorry, I love you.
Oh, he's coming up. Yeah,
he was picking on me a lot.
Yeah.
And then it got to a point where I was like, you know, he every chance he gets, like, terrorist this, terrorist that, making fun of me.
Yeah.
So I put him against the wall. I'm like, you know, I'm about to it was a moment where I was like, yeah, it's all enough.
Yeah.
My man is like, yeah. I was like, you like that?
Yeah.
You like that? That was good.
Right. That's
Okay.
right.
That was, yeah, really.
Right.
You're proud.
Look, I was like, don't ever say.
Immigrant 101. Immigrant 101. Real talk.
Wrong
So
word.
check it out. He gets my back just with just a validation. You did the right thing.
Yeah.
Good for you. And then basketball in the court. What's the court in
In E10?
Sitting Avenue?
Maxwell Park. Yeah.
Maxwell Park.
Yeah, that's right.
Again, I love basketball, but I never could figure, like, I would get nervous.
Yeah.
You know, listen, I played and I kicked ass in basketball in Morocco. Like, I mean, you couldn't touch me in the streets. But then that wasn't America. There was no NBA influence, right? Playing with a bunch of kids from Africa, you're going to shine.
Yeah.
So I come in here and it's like, man, I got to find my groove. And then we start playing for the very first time. And then, you know,
He was better than me. I sucked.
but I tell you what, when someone speaks life into you, bro,
Yeah.
you're untouchable. So he's like, yo, man, like, you got this. He will always, again, till this day, I ask myself, like, what did I do? Like, in what life did I take care of this dude, right?
Yeah.
And he will always, like, you know, just give that love, give that positivity. And then all of a sudden, my confidence just grows and grows and grows. Next thing you know, I'm doing end one moves in the court. Real talk.
Yeah, he was doing the skip.
Real talk.
With the basketball in the
Yeah,
shirt spin.
Real talk. Out of nowhere, I'm this confident kid. All of a sudden, I start, like, getting my comfort zone in school. All of a sudden, Ali became Ali, right?
Yeah.
My confidence was there, and the rest is a wrap. So,
Yeah.
so
Let me tell you why, though. Let me tell you why. No, real life. When I was a kid, I was raised to hate white people. Right? Now this is the weird part about it.
I need details on that. Like, how are you raised to hate white people?
All right, listen. The word hate to me, first of all, means it's an extreme separation. I don't want you around me because I know your intention is to hurt me. Like
that was the programming that was passed
the program.
into
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So the idea is like, okay, if somebody tells you they're trying to kill you, you're not going to just be in, right?
Exactly.
But I had to realize over time that not just I was lied to, but my dad was lied to, and his dad was lied to.
Generations after
Generation
generations.
after
Yeah.
But the danger was real. The danger was real. So in acknowledging that the danger was real, I was taking a stand to say, first of all, you have to be who you are as a person, right? And Ali happens to be Moroccan. And at the time, I knew a story about this Moroccan guy who came to America and actually was told that he was white, but he was black, not black, but he was like on his on his registrations, he was told that he had to check white because he's from Northern Africa, which happens to be considered a white Africa.
Just so you know, that is a real thing.
It's a real truth.
So even for me, when I go, like, apply or whatever the case may be, and so I'm like, okay, so I was born in Africa, I have American citizenship, that qualifies me as African American. They're like, no, that doesn't. You have to select other.
Right.
No, it's so I'm just letting you know that is a fact. It's not an anomaly. Like, you are told, like, no, you can't check African American unless you are born black in the United States of America.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It's deep,
Yeah.
you know. But let me tell you, he in me meeting him, he was in that place, right? But I wanted to confirm that you are my brother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just like all the other people around, I saw him getting big. But the idea is that he's African. In my heart, I was raised African. And that idea was something that I wanted to promote because I didn't see it as something that he was proud of. So I was like, listen,
He was recruiting me.
African Ali.
20 years later, like, what?
Right.
I am part of what?
Right. Black presidents. Like they
said.
Right. That's what happened. You know, like that's why I was so proud of him actually taking that name. Because to be African, it
took me like almost 3 years to actually change. Like I used to record prior, but it was always Big Ali.
Yeah.
You know, and it was because I was inspired by Will Smith, Big Will.
Big Willie. Yeah,
Big Willie, right?
Yeah,
Always, that's all it was, right? And then this kid, you know, so like the moment we started recording, I was like African Ali. That was the rebranded.
Your name African Ali.
Yeah.
Everybody, I loved it, you know.
But yeah, so it's incredible to see again when someone speaks life into you, bro. Like the rest is and that's why I appreciate the moment he sat in here. This is the first time you and I meet for the very first time, right?
Yeah.
Like, nope, it's my best friend. It's my man. He's gonna sit on this interview, and I want his story to be told because it is a story that needs to be heard.
It is.
That's what he's done since 2002.
You've always been that way.
But that's what I'm getting at. So.
But you guys are doing the work though. You came here and actually had discipline to make it.
I have come, I saw, I conquered.
That's right. Look, respectfully, I gotta give him that. And you did the same thing with the industry, you know. And in this moment, I feel so validated because the intention was just that to bring people and make them feel more connected with who they are.
Yeah.
Because inside of myself, I didn't feel allowed to be who I was, you know.
Bro, that is such a deep thing to say. Like, I need you to like, how were you not allowed? Was it just like an environment thing, or was it like, because listen, I come from a lot of trauma from my parenting.
That's true.
I come from a lot of trauma, physical abuse, sexual abuse, molestation, like the whole nine. I grew up for a decade. Reason why I never went back to Morocco for two decades, and I'm scared. My son is calling me. I was like, Papa, when are you gonna take us to Morocco?
Wow.
This year, but we've gone all over the world. We've been in 15 countries in the last like 5-6 years.
We're going to Morocco, man. No, seriously.
It's how he said.
We doing it, No, but I'm saying, or really, like.
So I need to know though, like where, like, how do you feel like, you know, that
I wasn't allowed?
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of trauma, and that's really why I work for APRA. I work to teach people about adverse childhood experiences, which is ACEs. And the idea is that the trauma that we experience in our youth, it can change and determine a lot of the negative outcomes that happen in our lives. But when I say I wasn't allowed, it's like, you know, being who I am is like, it's an event, you know, and the idea of being allowed to make mistakes and to learn and to grow and to speak your mind and all those things. I felt kind of choked, you know, with my father and my mother, what they were going through. I don't know if you ever even got to talk to you about it, but yeah, when I was in high school, it was a real hell spot for me in the sense that before I met you, I was homeschooled, and I actually graduated high school at 16. You know, and
that is nuts. You know why? Guess how old I was when I graduated high school in Morocco before coming to the States?
Oh,
guess.
16.
Yep.
Yeah, wow. Look at that. I'm telling you, yo.
Go on.
Yeah. So like,
I'm serious. So I learned a few things.
Yeah.
I learned that you recruited me in the Black Panther, and I learned that we both graduated. All right, go on.
Okay. So basically,
your name is Josh, right?
It's actually no. I was named Yehoshua.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but seriously though.
Help me out here.
I was. But here's the thing. My So wait. I'm gonna skip and I'm gonna talk to you about why I was choked. My mom and dad went to jail, and I was homeschooled at 16. I was homeschooled up until I was 16, where I graduated. When they went to jail, or 15. When they went to jail, I ended up getting shipped to Ballou High School in Washington, D.C.,
okay,
where I was made to start at 9th grade when I was actually I was finished, so they didn't allow us to test into our proper grades. So I felt like I had to accept that I wasn't going to be where I felt like I was supposed to be. So that in a way kind of choked me, made me feel like I couldn't be, who I was, that being forced to be in high school. But the idea that I was so much like my dad made it worse, because my mom at home felt like that was a negative trait, because she felt like he was responsible for her getting locked up. So they both got locked up. He got locked up first, and then she got locked up. They were accused of stealing money from the state. So it was a whole big drama around him trying to start a youth center in Asbury Park, where there were a lot of people trying to rip him off and take a piece of the pie. They ended up writing to the Senate, writing to the state representatives and stuff, lying, saying that they stole money. Long story short, there's a lot of confusion, but inside of all of that, we were taken right out of our community. So I was raised in music. I was raised in the community where we were.
You and your brothers all were raised in music,
right? We had a lifestyle of music, and
it always, from what I saw as an outside looking in, it was always a way that you guys, that was your escape.
Yeah, it is my escape. Yeah,
you always had the guitar.
Right.
Your older brother will always be with the keyboard. Like no matter what, he's always relaxing with the keyboard or even the drums. And then your younger brother, he just raps.
Right.
Angry rap.
He's always always looking for like, if I don't rap and really let this energy out, I'm about to punch something or somebody.
Right.
So shout out to your brothers too.
Black Prez all day.
Black Prez, the only label that I've ever actually called out loud and give credit to, and Jeremiah, I love you.
Right.
Jeremiah actually dissed me in one track. Hold on.
I know he's gonna bring it
Hold
up.
on. You already know. And I was dumb enough to diss back. We're not gonna play that one because that's in the past that I, it was. No, we're not. Y'all gotta pay to listen to that. Anyways, Black Prez and his motherfucker. It's funny thing is, I genuinely wish there is a way to reconnect, because there are so many songs that were recorded that I wish I have access to. I know one thing: when we recorded Universal, he was upset.
Yeah. Oh man.
Because he wanted to be there for that track so bad.
I wasn't even there.
Can you look for Universal?
I was jealous.
Yeah, he wanted to be,
like,
and for the commercial break, we're gonna play Universal fully from top to bottom. Yeah. He wanted there was two things. He was upset that he wasn't in it. Because he loved the beat that he put together, the composition, the lyrics, the flow of first time. I'm gonna go back and forth to the level that I'm gonna go. Like when I say I rhyme from English to French to Moroccan, you can't tell that
it's
I switch
so hard.
it.
Yeah, it's hard to do that.
And then we shot a video to it, and he wasn't there, and he was even more mad. It's like it's like a double. Is like, you did what?
Yeah.
Like, so
that was the day.
Yeah. Anyways,
we're
gonna take a little break. We're gonna play Universal,
I wanna hear
and
that.
we're gonna hear it. Everybody's gonna hear it, and we'll be right back after Universal. We'll be right back.
That's right, coming in.
Yeah, I'm back and I'm ready for Joe Crack. Ready to dance, ready to lean back. I'm a big fan of old-style rappers. Chicken Man is my inspiration. All the shit that he spits when I write it a thing. I came with nothing, but I'm realizing something. The dream, the team that we built together. I know it sounds unbelievable, but it's really doable. They made it to the top before me. Remember my name, homie, it's African Ali. It's gonna be flash everywhere in the city, but in TV, in the hood where you come from, to the hood where I come from, nigga. هذه حياتك أعيشها كيف أريد لا يمكن أن تقول لي كيف أعيشها. This is my life, I live it how I want to. You can tell me where to go or ever tell me what to do. عيش نهار تسمع اخبار بلادي راه كله دوار وكيوريو غير في النوار في هاد البلاد الغريبه العيشه راه هي ليسا كيعيطوا ليه بلاد الحلم راه غير نعس وحياتك زبل مرات ما تنساش منين جيتي وعلى بلادك اللي خليتك سميتي غادي تكبر مستقبلي غيكون احسن وصاحبتك غتشوف فيا وتكون وفينا الفن هذا هو علي احسن رابور عربي والمغرب بلادي راك ديما في بالي ما عمرني ما ننساك ومعاك ديما فؤادي سو مون باسي tout est cassé je dois ramasser au même remboursé je suis seulement en train de me chauffer je dois gagner mon trophée c'est moi le futur de ton passé très loin tu ne pourrais jamais m'attraper tout le monde doit clapper pour le new star Maghribi from Morocco to Jersey never back down for mercy what's mine is mine and what's yours is still mine Press is the label cause Press is mad cool just the left shoe when I am the right hand I'm making a step too cause after my first song I feel like a big dog at first I thought that it was just for fun but this shit could be done with a lot of problems I still can't focus but don't hate me it ain't me it's just me African Ali هذه حياتي أعيشها كيف أريد لا يمكن أن تقول لي كيف أعيشها This is my life I live it how I want to You can't tell me where to go or ever tell me where to
Gotta get it going, never stop working, move the movement. We like me on the train, you struggle in the rain, the winter and the rain, whatever kind of weather, we got it together. It's about unity now, putting my peoples down, moving out of the hood. You know we got the goods from the north to the east, from the west to the south. Y'all know what we about. Hip hop don't stop, it comes from the heart. So you never could ever break us apart, huh? Where you from? Where you at? Now where you going? Now bring it back.
Bring it back, baby. Black press. Black press. Black press. Don't ever forget it, son.
We back in the building. I got John Beats and my man Rob Mason.
That's right, Rob. Nice to produce.
We gotta switch gear a little bit. By the way, that was Universal. You gotta pay for it if you want it, but I hope you enjoyed it. My boy right here actually is an entrepreneur. Tell me a little bit about your power washing business that you just launched. And first of all, how does one just wake up one day and say, "I'm gonna do a power washing business"?
I'm gonna talk without saying too much because I got something else in the stash based off.
Just
of
keep
why,
an eye on that camera. They're looking at you
based
right
off
there.
of why I started the power washing business. So me and Ja, we had a studio in Asbury. We went in partnership with somebody. It didn't work out. Like
I already know how that goes.
the way it's supposed to. So I was just trying to figure out, ideas for us to get exactly what we want. So I was like, you know what? It's a little bit easier to start up a power washing business. Like the turnover for everything, like the cost wise and everything is easier to start up. So I went ahead and started the power washing business. I bought a truck, bought the power washing stuff. Did the whole truck myself. I put the whole rig together, plumbing, hooking the hoses and everything up to the plumbing and all that. And then I just started marketing on my own. I just created a logo, printed out the logo onto cards, made little baggies, hanging them on people's doors and stuff like that, going door to door. If I see a house that might need power wash, whatever, I just hang the cards and the little baggies on the door and stuff like that. And the next thing you know, I just started receiving calls and people asking me for estimates and stuff like that. I brushed up on my knowledge of power washing, like the chemical wise, what type of surface I'm working on, what type of chemicals I need to use on the surface, the type of equipment that I needed to get the job done for what I was trying to do. I just went from there, and right now I'm actually working on a 2,300 square foot deck that I power washed. I'm stripping with the paint.
And no experience prior to this, right? So the University of YouTube. University of YouTube. Man, shout out. I wish I have the button for the claps, but shout out to you, real talk. Because one of the things that I talk to, there's a lot of excuses, right? People call them reasons. I call them excuses, right? There's a lot of excuses out there like, oh, you don't understand. I don't got the money. All right, cool. Well, hustle up, work hard, double shifts, do whatever it takes. Stop eating, stop smoking, stop whatever. Stack up and you can do it, right? I don't care what you tell me. I was homeless and I made it to the top, right?
In America.
And the
Yeah.
truth of the matter is, listen, I understand struggle. I'm not saying that struggle is not real. I empathize. I don't feel bad though. Like, you may be in a situation, but you don't have to stay in it.
It's all about perspective.
That 100%. And guess what? Like, I used to feel bad for the person that had no shoes until I met the person that had no feet.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You can tell me I got no, like, all right, cool. Let's go. So kudos to you for figuring that out. How can people connect with you in Jersey if they want to, hire you to power wash?
I have Instagram and Facebook is Robust Power Washing for both of those, and then I also have a website, robustpowerwashing.com.
Cool. We'll make sure we put that on the copy as well. I think that's drive some traffic your way.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Appreciate it, brother.
yeah. No,
Appreciate it.
without it. Listen, if we don't help one another, who is going to do it?
That's
right.
we
And
always talk about all the time.
That's what
Networking.
I'm
Man. That's
talking
what
about.
Yeah. No, 100%. All right, John. Let's go a little bit. It was a period of your life that you went on a rabbit hole of identifying what life means, what life is, where you want it to go. You even, were at one point heavy into politics, heavy into religion, heavy into what it means to, connect with a higher power. Who is the higher power? What is truth? What is story? His story, her lies, like all that stuff. I kept up with you, right?
Wow, I'm glad you did. I didn't know.
Kidding me? We all do.
That's
the thing is, some of us don't have the audacity or the courage to put our heads out until recently. Like some of our episodes that we've been, opening up about, we came out and we're like, we don't care, we don't care if you missed it last episode. I'll give you some context to how I give you kudos and I commend you for being authentic no matter what. 2-3 weeks ago, the week before Memorial Day weekend, we went to Hurricane Harbor, took Sebastian, Isabel, wifey, and everything. It's fun. You saw the post, right? Yeah, I know you saw it.
Yeah, I love it.
So there's a whatchamacallit, a girl, right? Like, and listen, respectfully, beautiful girl, but she's wearing a thongini. And her, her thing is right in front of my son's face. He looks at me and he's like, yo, we looking at this or what? I'm like, pulling back aside and listen. And again, like I said in the post and like I said in the last episode, if I took my son to a strip club, then damn me.
Yeah.
If I took my son to a nudist beach, if I took my son to an area where it's inappropriate for a child, I get that. But it's Six Flags, bro. Like, it is for my child to have fun and enjoy. Like, I get it. You think it's okay to be progressive and, 2024. Bruh.
Yeah.
If you feel, and she turns around and looks at me and smile.
Yeah.
If you feel comfortable, and I'm going to say it again and again and again, this has nothing to do with LGBTQ or heterosexual. Like, I don't care what you identify as a cow for all I care. If you are okay with the idea that you are to be exposing yourself naked in front of a child, you are a pedophile, point blank, period. I don't care how much, we're in the beach. All right, great. There's a child right next to you.
That's right.
And he's staring at you, right? Like that is just my take, and I stand by it. And what I realize is when you care enough about something, you're going to say something about it, right? It's like almost that selfish, I care about it. That's why I talk about it.
Yeah, and you should. That's what
we always, I speak in analogies a lot, right? There was a dog that was on a Porsche howling the whole time, right? And then, this neighbor walks out every single morning and looks at him, goes back out, looks at him, goes back out. Then eventually he sees an old man sitting in that very same Porsche next to the dog. And then that guy goes like, sir, did you hear the dog? He's hurt. He's in pain. He's like, yep. He's sitting on a nail. He's like, okay, well, can you just like move him away from the nail? He's like, I do every day. He goes right back and sits right back on it just to howl again and again and again.
Wow.
See, that nail doesn't hurt bad enough. And many people are just sitting on that very same nail until it hurts bad enough, and then we do something about it. I had my own opinions and my own views, social, political, religious views. And I always do the Michael Jordan, right? Like, well, Republicans and Democrats both buy sneakers, so we ain't got to talk about it, right? until I realized for the very first time, like this hit home, like this is my son, and I have personal experience with child abuse, child molestation, all that kind of stuff. So it got me going.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to be like, yo, you're a pedophile. Have a good day, man. You know, like that's how hardcore, I felt about it. So let's go back to Yahweh. Let's go back to Jabez. Let's go back to Josh, right?
Yeah.
And talk to me about what was going on in that period where, like, what happened that you felt like I got to talk about these things and bring awareness to them.
Well, in my life, it wasn't so much sexual abuse, but it was physical in the sense that, there's a certain level of whippings that you can give to a kid, and it actually makes sense.
The way we grew up,
Right, the way we
little pow pow.
Pow pows, that's what I call them too. Now
Yeah.
I call them. But when the community starts to look at you or look at me and say, "Hey, you brainwashed. Hey, doesn't it hurt what this happened, what that happened, what your dad did and stuff like the things that I was going through, everybody saw, but I didn't recognize it. So the ACEs or the adversity that I faced as a child, I didn't even really understand until I started to grow into who I am as an adult and recognize, some of these things that I thought were normal weren't. Like let's say arguments between my mom and father and like maybe abuse, slapping and stuff like that, or pushing and things like that. Witnessing it as a kid, I picked a side. You know what I mean? Because you're
and
there.
It makes you angry.
Right. Guess what? I picked the other side. I picked my dad's side. It was like, Mom, you deserved it.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which made it even more hard for me growing up, because with that type of attitude about your mom, right? Oh, a little long, right? With that type of attitude about my mom, it created a lot of spite, because I'm like, you shouldn't have did that to Dad, Mom. You deserve it. Not realizing,
which raises you also as a man looking at other females in that very same predicament.
Right.
Like, I'm supposed to discipline you because that's how it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
Bruh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was a mind screw.
Now I get why we connected in so many ways.
Right. But
That's-
what it inspired me to do was to really find a way to understand it. So with my relationship with God and my relationship with my father, he was always into the church a lot. He ended up becoming one of a leader in the oldest Black synagogue in America. And the synagogue is called Commandment Keepers Beth Hatiflah. It's Commandment Keepers Ethiopian Hebrew congregation, Beth Hatiflah. So it's house of prayer, long name, but the idea is that it was Black people who established themselves as Jews in Harlem long before anybody ever even thought about it. I grew up in that community.
Right, just the fact that you said Ethiopian.
Yeah, we got our charter. Yeah, we got our charter from the priest.
How big is the book? Because that has its own calendar, its own historical figures,
Enormous.
The oldest cultures, the oldest religions. I mean, you can go on and on and on and on.
It is. It's beautiful, beautiful culture. And the Haile Selassie's priests were the ones who gave us the charter to start our community, because we weren't getting accepted by white Jews, and we weren't even able to buy our Torah, our scroll, So there's a lot. That's a big story. But the idea is that in my youth, I wanted to understand relationships, and God told me that life is the power of relationships, and love is its product. So life is growth. Power is the ability to do something in a particular way, right? Relationships are how we work together to get somewhere, right? And love is a unifying force. So when you put them all together, you realize that family is the purpose of life. The idea that two people can come together and create 3 people or 10 people who all are convicted to be with one another, to live for one another, to sacrifice themselves. I wanted to understand what was wrong.
Howard Terrence, you got nothing on Jabez, just for the record. He just stole your moments. You got to start talking about molecular activities a little bit.
It's coming.
The flower of life is coming up next.
My journey started there, adversity that I faced in childhood made me want to understand relationships, which taught me why it was so important to address these
God,
issues.
say, why you keep pushing the
I know,
mic,
I know,
bro?
I know. It's just old school homophobic things. Just, no.
Move it
But
away.
look. That's what I'm saying. The peace that I sought when I created my organization, it stemmed from the peace that I wanted when I was a kid in my house.
Mm-hmm.
The question that I had as a kid, why are we dealing with these problems? Why are y'all arguing? It lingered in my mind, and I held on to them and demanded an answer from God. When he gave me the answer, which I gave you, I started to give it to my dad, and he said, "Yeah, no, that's not right." I said, "Life is about relationships. It's the most important thing." He said, "No," and at that moment, I was like, "Wait, I disagree with you on that." So my brainwashing must have been wearing off or something, because I disagreed with everything until that moment, because I know God gave it to me. So when he disagreed with me, I was like, "Hey, I can't agree with you, even though I disagree with mom, and I agree with you. I can't agree with you here." And that made me start to realize that, hey, we all have our own path. We all have our own journey, and it's through the fire that that power is refined. Our power, our ability to do something is refined when we go through situations where we can't. You know what I mean? Because I want to do it, but I'm not really specific enough. Or I think I can do it, but I don't really believe it's time or whatever.
Do you think the whoopings and the aggressive masculinity that you've gotten from your father had to do with siding? Was it more of a fear, or was it just you thinking that this is the righteous person in the relationship that I'm seeing as an example in my life?
I'm gonna tell you, I was convinced scientifically. See, because I was homeschooled, so I was forced to learn a particular way. And the way that I was taught was through scientific method. My father was a chemist, so we understood that look, this is the proof. This is how you create proof. This is why something is true. If it doesn't meet this criteria, it's not true. So the kind of program that I went through to make me say, "Hey, mom, you know what, you're wrong." It was from logic, from a logical standpoint. And I didn't grow to learn that that's wrong. That was wrong until I had gotten married and realized that women don't operate on logic. So
Women are emotional,
right?
Yeah,
so you
they
can't
speak
really
in emotions. Yeah.
Yeah.
How is your relationship now with mom and dad?
Oh, it's really good with my mom and my dad and I. I still love and I cherish what I have, but the trauma that he put himself through after all of that stuff that we went through, it's put him in a place where it's hard to even connect. The regret to a certain extent that I could say that I see in him that he speaks about, but for what he did, what he went through, he's saying, "Oh, I was wrong about that, Josh," and this and that and that. Just seeing him going through that, it's created a huge gap between us. But my mom and
I've yet to get that from my father.
Oh, I was wrong. You never admit it.
My father, well, I'm not looking for I was wrong, personally, right? Like I'm more looking for
Accountability.
it's not so much that, like I went through a year and a half of therapy of just I hit the couch and I needed to be at peace that ain't nothing wrong with me, because the whole time I blamed myself. I'm the reason that my father and my mother divorced. I'm the reason that my father went and remarried somewhere else. I'm the reason that my mother went to America and left us behind. I'm the reason. Like I grew up with that mindset, which always, even when I would get love from Josh back in high school, I'm like, "Yo, what's up with this dude?" Because I'm looking for the bad guy.
Right.
I'm the reason he's gonna hurt me. I'm the reason, So I think and I communicated that I'm looking for just I understand you.
Yeah.
I got you. You good. Like I still find myself as a 38, almost 39-year-old man. Y'all thought I was 27, right?
Cutting down the weight.
Yeah. It was I still find myself looking for, "Dad, are you happy with me now? Are you satisfied? Am I good enough for you?" Like my drive, but like I will go to like travel the world, and I would make it a point that I call him on FaceTime on that best moment of my trip.
Right.
Just so you can see.
Right.
And and if I don't get like, "Man, I'm so proud of you. I'm like, you did it. You're good." Like I'm like, he doesn't care. It destroys me every single time. And it's a work in progress. And from what I learned from therapy, you are reliving your father's trauma and your trauma from your past, because trauma is just pain relived that we had in the past.
Yeah.
Anxiety is fear of what could go wrong that would never actually
That's
happen.
right.
Yeah.
So what I learned is living in now,
That's
and my
right.
therapist, shout out to her, she will always say, I'll come in and I'll complain about my father and how the family doesn't care. Nobody comes to visit the kids. And she was like, well, just out of curiosity, like, how are you doing right now? I'm like, I'm good, I guess. She's like, great. She was like, what kind of shoes are those you wearing? I'm like, why? She's like, I'm just wondering. I'm like, I don't know, Jordans. She's like, great. What kind of watch you have? She's reminding me like, bruh, what are you complaining about?
Right.
Good.
Focus on the good that you have right now. Ignore the past in the past. Ignore the future of what could go wrong, because you're creating something that's not there yet.
That's right.
And and that's why I ask, out of selfish curiosity, like our things with dad and mom. You've known Josh for 10 years now, right?
Well, longer.
Way
His
longer.
dad was best friends with my dad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
talk to me about how you've seen his progression and change and growth over the years. One thing that I kind of identify with, and I'll come back to you in a second, but tell me how you saw Josh growing up and how has he evolved? Like, because he's gone through some stuff too.
Oh yeah, shout out to all mental health professionals, please. We
Facts.
got to respect that.
He definitely came a long way. But Josh always been Josh. The situations where he was talking about, like, I don't think he really let people see that side of him and what he was going through, because he's always like that, like you said, that person that's like, hey, yeah, you can do it. He's always been that type of person. So he really don't show that side to, like, of what he actually went through. He always like kind of smiled through it. Like,
He
masked
gives what he wishes to receive.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So, he definitely grew. And even to this day, like with the studio thing, we can do this, bro. He's just always been that person. So to me, it's like Josh is kind of still the same, but just older now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the way I look at it. He's still the same person.
Just for the record, I'm never growing up. I don't mind getting old. I'm never growing up. One of the things that I learned is so we all have like the little trick to distract us from like a trigger.
Yeah.
I identified again through therapy is my I joke a lot. When I joke a lot, there's something that's in my brain is like, something is off. You're about to cry. You're about to get hurt. You're about to hurt somebody. So I, obviously you guys can tell I mess around a lot, and that's and again,
super cool how you can acknowledge that though.
Well,
that's super
therapy.
That's
therapy.
super evolved.
So
bro.
if you identify, so some people look at their scars and they're like, look, I've been hurt. I look at my scars. I'm like, yo, you can't hurt me. Look what I've been through, right? So identifying out loud, your scars are superpowers. I got superpowers right now. Like these bullet wounds, they're not pain. They're just showing you how strong I really am.
Right.
So
did you catch a spidey sense just now? You want to ask a question?
But yeah, I had a question for you. Growing up in a predominantly Christian Black community, was that somewhat of a discomfort for you? And I'll tell you why. Coming to the States right after 9/11, it made me sometimes want to be like, I wish I can tell people my name is Al. Al, the pizza guy, like drop the I, because it was just uncomfortable because, bro, like, there's, and I think, you walk around and all you're going through your head, like everyone is probably thinking that I got a bomb in my backpack, that I'm some like dirty terrorist that came from a cave somewhere. And it sucks, like it ruins your relationships with other people. Like somebody's coming to say what's up to you and you're like, what's your problem? Like, what do you want? And I could only imagine that's part of a lot of miscommunication in a lot of situations in the United States. We talked about it last episode. The United States is a tribal country. You got the Jewish community, the Black community, the Spanish community. There's a lot of that. And, the white community always gets in trouble if you say the white community too. But I love you too. But I'm saying, so talk to me about your experience with the battle of the personality, right? Like it's like Ali was supposed to be hardcore, while I'm like, I am a softie. If these guys really find out,
right.
Was there a battle of personality between the faith and the social visual,
Wow.
that
Very,
everybody. Yeah.
very real. It's a very real battle. Very, very real battle.
Yeah.
So just to give you some context, and I don't really get
Don't
to
push the mic.
All right. I don't get to talk about it much. I don't get to talk about
All right, talk to me. Faith.
So what happened? What had happened was
What had happened was, all right, go on.
look. My mom and dad, right? They had my older brother Jerry,
Yeah.
right? And then they separated. They got back together, and I was created, and I was in my mom's stomach when they got married, right? So I was considered a love child, and inside of that concept, I felt very secure, and I felt happy, I felt positive, and all of those things, right? So the Christian community that we grew up in was very, very in love with me because I was a very good singer. I was very exuberant, very, very good.
You were
And
what
it's
was
a-
the designed perfect avatar for the
Exactly,
community. Yeah.
exactly.
Look at him. He's so perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
Singing my ass off and all that. And this is the interesting thing about it, because in the Christian community at that time, there was an enormous conflict because, well, I'm gonna be straight with you. My dad was the musical director for the church,
Mhm.
and the issue at the time was that there were a lot of homosexuals coming out in church. So they would say, "Hey, I'm gay," and then the church would, kick them out of the choir, take their positions and posts away. You can't do it, and you can't be that in front of the kids. You understand? So inside of that community issue, right? I was perceiving that because some of the best singers in gospel were gay. You know what I'm saying? They still are today to a certain extent. A lot of the best singers are still gay. But the idea is that, like, in that moment in history, I was being born as a love child into a Christian community that was starting to face the idea
He's
of
pushing the mic.
that was starting to face the idea of
Put a sign on that wall.
Right.
Don't push the
Don't
mic.
push the mic.
Go on.
So so that was one conflict there. So you have Christian community, you have me being a great singer, wanting to be a great singer, seeing all of the great singers as gay.
Which is the homophobia part that you were talking
That's what I
about
said
earlier.
Exactly. Because I was raised to say that's wrong. And I told you I was taught scientifically.
Yeah.
So when we think about my dad's scientific approach to explaining to his sons what's homosexuality in 1998, 94, 95, before it was a big thing, I was sat down at a table. No, not in 88. It was later when I was sat down at the table when we had the conversation. But the idea was that I sat at the table and I had to do an actual report on homosexuality. What is homosexuality? Exactly. And did my report, my conclusion was homosexuality is not actually sexuality, because the word sex requires that there be a penis and a vagina.
Yeah, a male and a female.
Right.
Elements,
The word sex is required. Boom. So what is sexuality? My conclusion was it's mutual masturbation. It's a situation where we come together and know two men can masturbate each other and receive pleasure. So that was the conclusion. And in that science, right? You can't go that way if you want to be righteous, because God says that a man and a woman are supposed to be together, not a man and a man. And if you're just masturbating, you can't create life, and you're putting your seed on the ground, which would be a violation of God's law. So the inside of my mind, I was boom. I will never be gay in my mind, right? And the reality is that everybody around me has all these gayness, all of this gay stuff going on. And the music industry, I want to be in the music industry. Everybody in the music industry is gay. Everybody that I liked a lot. All of my idols in the community, they coming out gay and all this kind of stuff. But for me, that was the biggest conflict in the Christian community, because these are people's grandkids. The mother of the church, her grandson is the best singer in the church, and he's gay. Or he doesn't come out until people know, and then he's shown to be gay. Then he gets kicked out of the choir. Then he goes to the record labels. Right? He gets a deal, and we all happy for him. But no songs ever come out. The best singer I've ever known. No, not one album. Never released. He comes back to the hood. Never did anything with his music.
And it's just adding into that stigma in your mindset. Yeah.
So you got the Christian community, and you got the Judaism Minnesota that I was raised with too. And they named me Yehoshua. So that
Which
gave
was
me
your
a-
Instagram
right.
handle at one point.
Yehoshua.
I'm telling you, I've
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
pay attention,
Yeah, you
bro.
a bro, yo.
I
You
am
my
a
bro.
plug.
You
I
the
am a
bro.
plug. I am a plug.
So I mean, the Yehoshua thing made me feel like I had to do right by God. You know what I mean? And the name is a lot of pressure. But then the community and the conflict that they were dealing with made me feel even more. I call it cognitive dissonance, where you hold two competing ideas in your mind at the same time, and it causes you physical, emotional, psychological pain. It's literal discomfort because you're trying to say, "Hey, I love this woman, but I can't stand this bitch." You know what I'm saying? You know, sometimes you feel like that, and I'm sure some people could relate to that. But the idea is that those conflicting ideas in your mind will cause you sickness, physical illness. Eventually, the situations that I saw in the community caused me illness in myself, which is why I ended up going into my rabbit hole. Because, you know, after being shooed out of that Christian community and ignored by the Jewish community because my dad and mom went to jail, I felt abandoned. You know
By
what I mean?
everything and
By
everyone.
everything.
Like all your belief system that's supposed to be there to comfort you is all
Right.
of a sudden
Gone. Right. And then you don't ever get it back.
See, for me
Yeah.
that was family, bro.
Right.
Like I found myself, and I appreciate that was so generous of you to kind of share with us. I know Rob the whole time he's looking at me, he's like,
Right.
he's talking about penis and penis. Do not ask me for a follow-up. It's like,
Right.
Ali, I will get up and
No,
leave and
right,
you say,
look, he's hit his
what
wife.
is your
He's hit his
perspective
wife.
on this subject matter,
Right.
sir?
He said no.
No, but I'll tell you this. Family for me was always the thing that I felt abandoned by.
Right.
You know, like it was mom and dad. Then mom goes to America. Then dad and stepmom for a little bit. Then mom comes back and dad leaves with stepmom.
Mm.
Then mom leaves again, and then we're back to dad and stepmom. Then the homelessness kicks out. There is nobody. Then we come back to mom and stepdad, and then dad and stepmom are completely disappearing, and then there's confusion and
Right.
anger of. So, bro, this is when I came
No
to America
stability.
with that. Oh, forget stability. It's always doing this. Like, who is going to drop me next?
Right.
Who's telling me that I
Abandonment.
love you,
Yeah.
but I'm just going to use you and abuse you and get rid of you? Like, and it was so bad, bro. Like, I almost ruined my relationship with my wife.
Wow.
Like, for the little thing, I'm like, I will look at her and be like, go on, you're gonna leave like everybody else. Might as well just pick up and go.
Right. Wow.
Over, do you want eggs or tuna?
Right.
You know, it would be that bad, right? So I appreciate the way you broke it down, and it's interesting. Rob, the household growing up, does it have an impact on who you are today? Was there any void? Was there anything that you feel like, you know what, it doesn't matter the household, you can make it the way you see it fit? Or like, and I'm not saying just for you as your own hero, but just as a general, what is your perspective on that?
My perspective on that is basically when I grew up, my my pops wasn't really around anything like that. Sometimes he'll come pick me up, whatever. But I had this thing where I always wanted my parents to be together.
Yeah.
Like I always looked up to my dad. Then as I got older, I started seeing certain things. So like I said, he wasn't around like talking about it. And then my mom, she was always working. So in my household, we kind of like raised ourselves to an extent, you know? So it's like, I basically was just winging it. So I learned how to do certain things like cook, because I had to cook for myself, basically. Sports kind of kept me like disciplined in a way, you feel what I'm saying? But mainly was like the things that I went through. Now, when I look back at it now, it's like, I use that as a stepping stone. Like my pops wasn't around. So for my kids, I have custody of my older two kids. And I just had another child with his sister, which is my fiance. So, and I'm more of a, like, okay, this didn't happen for me as a child. So I know what it feel like for a father to not be there. Right. So I'm using the negative that I've seen in the situation,
The opportunity within the obstacle,
and turn it to a positive.
Yeah.
I'm never going to abandon my kids. I'm never going to just not see them, not be around them, not get to know them. So
They still gonna learn how to cook though.
yeah, exactly. It's still gonna learn how to cook because I cook. So I teach them what I know at the same time. Like right now, I got the power washing company. I take my son with me, and showing them like when I get in the car, I'm like, look, 2.5 hours, I just made $850. That's basically like almost a week's salary of what I would make at a regular job. I just made that in 2.5 hours. I was like, because my son, he wanted to take the wrong route, try to be out in the streets and doing other stuff he's not supposed to be doing. So I'm trying to teach him, like, look, it's ways to live that type of lifestyle without actually having to do negative. You can do positive by
take the same exact energy to
take the same exact energy, just putting something out. So like I said, basically all it is just me. What I didn't experience as a child growing up, like that's support, because I went to 5 different high schools because my mom would send me to my dad because I was acting up. I was partly acting up because my parents weren't together, you feel what I'm saying? And when I was with my dad for a little bit of time, my dad was abusive, you feel what I'm saying? So I learned from that situation too, like I'm not going to physically discipline my kids. You feel what I'm saying? I come up with alternative ways, like put them on punishment, talk to them why I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? And
thank God we got tablets. I take that sucker away, and it's like, hit me, and give me my tablet.
That's more torture than anything.
It is.
Turn off the Wi-Fi. It's lagging.
That's basically all. It's just learning off of the experience that I've been through. Like I look at the negatives and try to turn into a positive. As of right now, when I'm doing with my life and with my kids and my family.
Yeah, no, major kudos to you on that. Well, when we look for it, there's a track called Los Angel. It's a track that I'm proud of that I did without my man, but I actually channeled the idea of if Ja was here, what kind of track would I be writing? And I will forever tell you this, man. Like even you can go through every song, and just by understanding this one thing. Ja has made me a conscious, like he would say, don't waste your lyrics.
That's right.
I would try to do like, the cars and like the women and
everybody doing
it. There was one, but at one point, look, the early 2000s.
Yeah, that's all it was.
That's all it was.
That's all it was, right? Like, what are you looking at? Jay-Z, 50 Cent, and that's all it was, right?
Money, clothes,
Yep, that's all it was the whole time. But in that period, he has taught me, like, you don't have to be anybody else. You don't have to copy him or her. You don't have to,
You're good enough, Ali.
It was.
So another thing to touch on, I think what it is that, like you was mentioning, like when you saying, like when you went to Asbury, you felt as though you had to be a certain way. Well, I think that's the way society, like with social media and everybody, when they're looking at those things, they feel as though it's real. Like that's.
Oh no, I learned the hard way. I almost got killed, and I was like. Nope,
but like doing that again. They feel as though like that's the lifestyle that they want.
I'll tell you two things. This is Confessions of Ali Mehdaoui. This is exclusive. I've never opened up about this. It's 2 things, right? So my mother just got a Ford Explorer. It was 2006, bro. Like brand new. The Explorer at that time was hot. Black rims, black window. I mean, if you had it, you had it, right? This dude, we were working at TGI Fridays. He's like, yo, bro, like, can you do me a solid? Like, I just got to go to Asbury Park. I got to pick up something for my boy. Code what that means. Now, I don't know that, right? I'm like, yeah, you already know, bro. Like, I got you, man. I'm going to get the Explorer. We going to Asbury. We going to get the Explorer. So, again, this is just to tell you how soft and no gangster in this guy at all, right? So I'm like sitting, like we just getting out. I'm like, you want to park here? It's like, yeah, just I'll be right back. I'm like, right here? I'm like, yeah. This is at 1:00 in the morning. I'm like, yeah, I'll be right here in Asbury. And I'm talking about like in Asbury Avenue. Think what's no worse.
Avenue. D-Wit.
No, Spring. What is it called?
Lake Ave.
Lake Ave.
Lake Avenue. Not the new Lake Avenue the way it's built right now. No.
Lake Ave.
Back in the day, right? Like the one-way street, right?
Zombies.
So he's like, just wait right here. I'll be right back.
He probably talking about one way. That's Washington.
Oh wait, yeah.
It's all rebuilt now. They have brand new construction in there. Like it's wow. So I'm parked in there, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna wait for him. Next thing you know, you can see like you feel something is going on, and all I see, the guy is running, yo, and I'm like,
no,
what's up? They're like, yo, turn it on. I was like, yeah, okay. I don't know what's going on. Next thing you know, he's just like, yo, roll. We start rolling, and then I'm being chased in Asbury. not realizing what the hell's going on. I'm like, what's up? He's like, no, they're trying to jump me, bro. Let's go. So we get out of there. Like,
That's
it's not.
crazy.
Now, here's where it got crazy. Here's where it got crazy. The next day, this like, look, you get away and you think you got a story to tell in the morning.
Ford Explorer.
I am the Ford Explorer.
Yeah.
I'm in TGI Fridays, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I'm working in the kitchen, you know, in the kitchen. Shout out to Mark Samuels. Like, he's got a Jamaican joint in Main Street right now, Mark's Place.
Oh, yeah.
Pepe. I mean, I can
Love
go
Mark's
like
Place.
the whole, you know, the whole crew lived in Asbury. You know, I mean, I had my moment. Like, I'm like, yo, these are my people. And the first thing I'm coming in at 5, yo, what's up? Were you in Asbury last night? It's literally what I'm told. Like,
no.
why? And I'm looking for the dude because he worked with us.
Yeah.
He's locked up.
Oh, wow.
He went to get drugs or whatever because he knew he was going to get locked up. So he needed to just figure out a way to get drugs in to make his way in there, right? So I'm like, yeah, what's up? He was like, yo, they're looking for you. I'm like, they who? Police. No, it wasn't the police. He lived there. And they started talking, yo, this kid who works in TGI Fridays, the guy that was running into my car, and he ran with this kid with the Ford Explorer, and they're looking for a kid with the Ford, looking for me. Bruh, I went from like, you know, like, wait, I'm coming in at 5 o'clock. I'm thinking I'm going to be like, you know, I'm walking with a limp. I'm like, yo, let me tell you what happened last night. Here's how we went, right? Mark, please, man. Please tell him that it's not me, man. Please, man. Real quick.
It was never me. That's funny. I would never do that. That's
So
right.
Mark had to have a conversation and be like, yo, listen, he got played. This dude just, you know, he didn't know. He's a kid from Morocco. He's a good kid.
Wow.
So that was the first time I realized don't ever try to be something you're not.
Don't do what you see in the video.
Don't do it.
Nah.
Now, the reason this was a confession, ladies and gentlemen, because I've been telling the story differently all these years.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what happened back in 2004. Anyway,
I can see you doing that. too.
right. So that was the first confession. Here's the second confession, right? This guy, Tom Acquisto. Tom, if you are anywhere, I'm sorry, this story's got to come out. Tom Acquisto comes and gives me like this like big flower of weed. And he's like, yo, it's Canadian this, it's Canadian that. Like, it's expensive. We're going to sell it. I'm like, we? He's like, yeah, bro. I was like, you know, we go to the studio. You know how many people want to buy? I'm like, yeah, let's go. 100. I got you, man. You know, I just recorded a diss song with this guy in the hood. I got this. The first place we go, and this kid is like, yo, this legit? Yeah. Hold on, I'll be right back. Yo, I ran out. I left the weed.
The gun?
Yes.
Wow.
I left the weed and I bailed.
He threatened him.
Yes. Because I'll tell you why.
You know, cock a gun
I
right
was like,
there.
wait. I don't know anything about weed.
Right.
For all I knew, that was sage.
K2.
Right. Oh man, that would have been worse.
Could have been K2.
It was sage. You know, how do you?
Oh, that's what it was?
I don't know because I have no
That's why-
idea. I am getting myself in a position to try to impress someone who doesn't give a damn about me.
At all.
I left. Then I come back. He's like, yo, you sell it? I was like, how much? How much? No. How much?
Supposed to bring back?
I gave him $150. You know, he goes like, yo, you're supposed to sell it for more. I'm like, well, listen, this is what I got, but don't worry. I'm working tonight. I'll make up the rest and I'll give it to you. Yeah.
That's
So
wild.
that was the 2 moments in my United States of America experience that I thought I was an OG, and I realized I'm just an oh my god. There's an OMG in there. There's no OG. There's OMG. All right, let's listen to that track, and we'll be right back after the break.
Wanna run, wanna reach for the night.
Yeah.
I wanna put my hands in the sky.
You get to a point
Dancing on the beat. I wanna feel
where you realize you just gotta humble yourself and say it like it is.
I'm gonna fly.
Let's go.
So sick and tired of everybody get off my face. You ain't worth walking on, my shoes are tying my shoelace. You ain't go through half of the things I did to take a taste. I'm a messer off of becoming bullets. Scarface, look on my face, stare at my eyes, you'll know why. You'll see the veins full of pain, full of sorrow. Hell yeah, our struggles from now, it's only extortion. No more emotion, no motion, only creating commotion. With credibility, #1 leading the whole nation. I know for you it feels like an abomination. Get used to it, we'll be here for generations. Mehdaoui in the present instinct with no expiration. Young me, no plan B, so let me be. I chose my path, don't speak to me and listen stacks. My accolades, they ain't fictions, they are actual facts. As matter of fact, Google the writer or the track.
I'm gonna reach for the light.
Whoa, whoa.
I'm gonna put my hands in the sky.
This guy, this guy, this guy.
I wanna feel life so high.
Whoa, whoa.
Gonna fly
So high, so high, so high. Like a lost angel. What more do you want me to do? What else do you want me to say? It took me 12 years to become the Da Vinci of the day. Renaissance man, created my own plan. Incredible with a pen, cheering for myself, yeah, I'm a fan. I challenge society, defeated mortality, constantly changing history. Truly, I am a mystery. God sent fragrant, spiritual, militant, but never belligerent. I always be an immigrant. Only God knows where I'm from, yeah, that's my father. And only she knows what I do, yup, that's my mother. Forgive me, Lord, I know I ain't living right. I ain't doing this for attention. This is truly a confession. Grateful for all the concession. My life has been a blessing. Have to correct my weak action. Passover, 7th-day prayer time. Tired enough for rain, whatever it takes to honor your name. Abu G, harmony until the end.
I'm gonna reach for the light.
Whoa, whoa.
I'm gonna put my hands in the sky.
This guy, this guy, this guy.
I wanna feel life so high.
Whoa, whoa.
Gonna fly
So high, so high, so high. Like a lost angel. So this is it. That was my testimony. The secret or the glory. Message to the phony. My will isn't money, but clues within his story. Wisdom is mandatory. Humility is obligatory. Purpose of the stories wake you up from the maze. Get you to embrace reality of the age. So ask questions and engage. Perception isn't the reality. The truth has been right there in your face.
I'm gonna reach for the light.
Whoa, whoa.
I wanna put my hands in the sky.
This guy, this guy, this guy.
I wanna feel life so high.
Whoa,
Gonna
whoa.
fly
So high, so high, so high. Like a lost angel. All right, we're back. African Ali in the building, aka Mr. Mehdaoui for most of the world. Yeah, you're seeing a whole different side that I haven't shown in forever. As a matter of fact, I deleted a lot of my stuff from YouTube. Oh gosh, bro. Like I would have like, I got a song. What's it called? I had so many songs that I can even like angry gangsta wannabe songs. Like I got a song called Straight Stunner. Like, I mean, straight up, I'm like, what are you stunting on? Like, like, what is up? Come and kick it with me. Who are we? Like, I go nuts. It's a club banger, but
What is up?
What
is up?
Yeah, profits,
Right, there you
But
go.
anyways, yeah. So that track was recorded in, what's his name? In Long Branch, Broadway.
Strike Force.
Strike Force. Yeah, he used to have a studio
yeah.
back in the day here in the
That's my
basement in the
guy.
building where we
Shout
are.
out to Cali and Cali.
He doesn't do music anymore. I hit him up many times,
Yeah, he's
and
a
he
programmer now.
he's but he focuses a lot on his e-commerce. He sells a lot of sneakers and all that stuff. So shout out to G. Definitely delivered. Many times came through for us, but. Yeah, it was
Next
good.
time I'm gonna record that one. We're gonna do that one.
Sure, whatever.
That's a good one, though.
Whatever you say.
Whoa.
Yes, whatever you say. I'm looking forward to doing B-sides to all the different tracks that we've done. But all right, let me get back into this conversation. So what do we expect for job beats? And this is where you manifest and also we hold you accountable. Meaning whatever you say right now, in a year from now, it comes back in memories. And then I'm like, yo, remember what you said a year ago in the interview?
Yes.
So talk to me. What are we expecting from job beats? The monster.
More fire. No.
Talk to me.
Everything is good. Everything is up. I'm in the moment right now. I'm actually launching an initiative. It's built around suicide prevention. And the mission is to motivate people to acknowledge first and then utilize the resources that we have in the community. Right now there's been a large push for Black mental health professionals and everything because we're underrepresented in the field anyway. But the idea is that suicide has now become a very, very mainstream conversation. We have since COVID, the numbers are really, really ridiculous. Even before COVID, it was crazy. But the idea is that I want to start to promote the local resources that we have for suicide prevention. Also, I wanted to promote the idea that we have a new national hotline for suicide prevention. It's called, it's 988, like 911. It's a new national hotline, and if you're dealing with suicidal thoughts or ideation, it's a resource for anybody to be able to call at any moment. And I want to promote that it's available because I haven't seen much about it promoted, and I've been really working in the trenches with people dealing with this issue for maybe about 13 years now. I've been trying to focus on adverse childhood experiences, toxic stress, and those types of issues. Even racial reconciliation, I've done some work there. Also restorative justice, people coming back from jail and all of that kind of stuff. So, but like I said, right now we're promoting suicide prevention, and we want to promote the national hotline where me and Rob, he has a company called Black Wing Entertainment, our productions, and we want to work together to create albums that share the story and the narrative that there are people who are desperate and need the help and need to be checked on and need to be just heard, and need security, but we're not really encouraged to look for that kind of help. Thought it was crazy, you pushed out of community circles because
that was me, bro. I think I projected my own helpless mindset onto others. Every time I would hear, like somebody talk about like, therapy, I'm like, therapy? Like, what am I, sissy, bro? Like,
Right.
I'm a man, like I sell weed and I see guns.
He said he sees guns.
Yes, that should have been like a meme right there.
I see guns.
That should be a t-shirt. I sell weed and I see guns. Yes. Anyways, it's a
you kill me with that.
yeah, it's good times. This is how it is always whenever we get together.
You gotta avoid the suicide.
No, but real talk. It's I think a lot of people push their own insecurities, their own fears onto others by giving this persona, right? Like, I don't need no therapist. I don't need this. I don't need, and that was me. And so, 2 years ago, wifey and I don't know what we even were arguing about. And then all of a sudden I'm like punching walls and like taking the whiteboard from the wall and throwing stuff and like screaming and walking outside. And like, and I am the most calm, collected human being you'll have around, and just lost it. It's like somebody turned on a wrong fuse or whatever. And my son saw that. It's one thing you act up and you calm down, right? It's another thing when your son sees it. And he saw it. And I came back and, I realized that he saw me because, so I'm in the upstairs and he just ran out. So cooled myself down, came back, went upstairs, and, you just see him sitting and just kind of like doing one of these. Like, am I in trouble? Are you mad? And he's not crying or anything, but you can tell he's shook. Yeah. And I just, I know what I did. I apologize, bro. Like, I cried my heart out to him. I'm so sorry. Because for the first time, I was like, I did exactly what I hated my father doing.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sometimes
that was exactly like that. Reminded me how I used to be when I saw my father and my mother fighting or whatever the case may be. Like, I'm like, am I in trouble? Am I to get hit? And that was literally the day I picked up the phone. Hey, Doc. Something is off. Like, I don't know. She's like, okay, do you feel like you're gonna hurt yourself? I'm like, how I was feeling, I don't know what I was feeling. I wanted to just end it. Yeah. She goes like, okay, I'm gonna ask you again and watch what you're saying, because if you say you're gonna hurt yourself, I have to make a whole different phone call. I was like, no, I'm calm and collected right now, but I hated what I was, you know, like, and I didn't hurt anybody and I didn't hurt myself, but I am not that guy. And therapy started a week later. And
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Would you have gone to therapy if you had that had not happened?
I always knew that something was off and I wanted to talk to somebody. The thing is that always stopped me. And you know, so you're 90% I wanted to, right? The 10% was I didn't trust people. And the therapist and I took us 30 days where, you know, she knew, like, bruh, like I read the whole room. Like as soon as I came in, I read the signs, I saw the phone, I saw the screen saver, and I knew exactly who she was. And I would be the nice guy and tell her what she wanted to hear. And then, you know,
She caught you.
She caught me in a way. She goes like, you know, you don't even have to talk, right? She's like, you can just sit there and say nothing, and that's okay too. And I was like, I talk for a living. This is what I do, you
that's
know.
what he does.
And what I realized,
Reverse psychology on him.
and what I realized is, you know, she had a feeling. Well, no, I'll tell you what it was. I told her that I spilled that I'm writing my third book. And oh yeah, that's great. What's it about? I'm like, my whole life, like, and I mean intricate details, bruh. Like I described the color of the wallpaper and the flowers that were in it, the car. Like I mean, it's a movie waiting to happen, right?
Wow.
And
What's the name of the book?
it's gonna come out. It's not out yet. Forgivable Sins.
Oh,
So every religion claims about there's a set of unforgivable sins. There are certain things that are unforgivable. Well, my family has atheists, it has Orthodox Christians, it has Buddhists, it has Muslim, it has Catholics, it has everybody. And all those religions, all in common at some form, shape, format, they have their non-negotiables or unforgivable sins.
right.
Today, you know, when there's Christmas or there's holidays or whatever, mom, stepmom, dad, stepdad are on the same table as we're breaking bread. My sisters from my father, my brothers and sister from my mom, everybody's on the same table. Everybody looks at there's a sense of enough of a family that is still in existence, which usually what we've gone through as a family and how deep it was, like I will cut your brakes and attend your funeral kind of mindset that, you know, I mean, just think about it like this, you know, for my mother to sit next to the same seat of my stepmother, who essentially took my father from my mother, next to each other and say happy birthday and happy holidays and break bread and that, sure, no problem, we get along for the sake of the children. We have a rule. There's no step. We don't do step brothers. We don't do stepsister. We're a family. So that's it. The historical events of how I remember my mother having a butcher's knife on my father's neck, to my mother hiring a voodoo, you know, priest and doing voodoo in my mother's and my stepmother's doorsteps, and you know how my mother was my mother is a descendant of the royal family in Morocco.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like in her passport it says Her Highness Miriam.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
still. So
That means you are too.
no, yeah, well, yes, but she married outside the royal blood.
Oh, okay.
So, and that's where the story begins. I mean, you know, she was proposed to from within the royal family, Highness, the wealthiest family in Morocco, and she said, "Yeah, I'm gonna go to that blue collar, the story that
American story,
the story."
She got gypped.
She said nope, and she, you know, was like, I don't care what happens, I am not gonna marry that guy. And then my father, who was, you know, helping my uncle as a mechanic and all that stuff with the motorcycle crew, they will include him here and there, and then he weaseled his way into dating the sister of his best friend without him knowing about it, while he's like, I am the royal family and you're a nobody, but I'm gonna let you hang around us, you know. And my father, who got beaten so many times, arrested so many times, and then they were like, "Stay away from her, or we're gonna arrest you and beat you up." And he's like, "Might as well kill me because I'm not gonna." It was like the
Wow.
ultimate romantic thing
That's crazy cool, man.
to how it ended up. So that's forgivable sin. So
Forgivable sins.
it depicts the whole, who is this guy and why.
Shameless.
So she goes like, "Oh, that'll be great." She goes like, "I'd love to read it." I'm like, "Well, listen, it's obviously I'll have you sign an NDA. I'll give you the manuscript. So as I'm writing it,
Mhm.
you can watch it and read it with me." So what did she do? She read and saw who this kid really is
Wow.
and studied me. And then she goes like, "You don't have to say anything." She realized that I was the pleaser.
Right.
I will do everything to make you laugh. I will do everything to make sure that you're eating. I'll make sure, like, I will sacrifice myself for your well-being.
Deep.
And I will be hurt, dying inside. I'll be like, "I'm good, man. Like, I got you. I will lift you up while I'm dying."
Mm.
And she realized that. So that was the first time she was like, "You don't have to say anything, right?" I was like, "I'm feeling good." She was like, "It's okay. You don't have to be everybody's hero. You're like, you can let go of that Superman, and that was the first time where, and I told her, I was
Started
like,
to trust her there.
I told her, I'm like, "I'm always looking for the bad guy." I'm like, "And this whole time, I'm be honest with you, I appreciate what you did.
Wow.
But this whole time, I'm thinking you're just here because you're getting a clock.
Mhm.
There's that little clock. You're clocking me, and that's all you care about. So the longer I'm sitting here and talking to you, the more I tell you I am doing good, the quicker I'm out of here and I'm back into my life." And
So
she helped.
deep.
Yeah, she helped me out. So it was that trust
Yeah.
between me and that person that was the missing link. Or
You know what? I want to say thank you though.
for
You know why? I personally have been dealing with the idea of getting counseling myself for my
Right.
divorce and all of that.
You're
And
robbing
the
yourself.
trust is the issue because I don't know these people, and then I expect them to write something on my record.
Yeah.
Now I
So
got a record. Now they gonna got this file on me.
yeah,
But
no.
in reality, it's just really it's
The
just,
beautiful thing, and this is what I was told, you got to find the right therapist for you. Now, I
Right.
was lucky. I faked it with her for about 4 weeks
Mhm.
until she showed me, like, you don't have to play along. Like, you can just sit here, stay quiet, and leave.
mm,
And that's a session. So you have the right to, and it's covered by insurance.
mhm.
So, like, it's not like a money thing.
Right.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
The best thing that I can advise any man or woman, I don't care how tough you think you are, it is what is beneath the surface that is killing you. That's really like, I tell every single person, right? So your mindset, I can't see your mindset right now. Like, I can't see it. But your attitude tells me what your mindset is, right?
Mhm.
Some people are positive, some people are negative, some people are immediately in the, like they're quick to get angry at the they versus us. The status quo is set, like, all right, just tell me about your mindset. You've been hurt at some point and you feel disenfranchised, and that's why you are now justifying it with the government. But the government has freaking nothing to do with what you are right now.
Right.
Matter of fact, you can be a millionaire tomorrow and the government would still have nothing to do with it, right?
Yeah.
So your mindset is unseen. Your attitude is the seen version of your mindset, and your
That's right.
attitude usually yields your activity or lack thereof. So
Right.
if you have bad activities, that tells me that your attitude is bad. If your attitude is bad, that means your mindset is bad. So you can reverse engineer, reverse create the whole thing. Change your mindset, you change your attitude, you change your activity, and ta-da!
Right. That's exactly right. Mindset is key.
Manifestation, it work both ways, negative and positive.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or
Whether
not.
you know you're doing it or not.
Well, I'll tell you, bro, I'll tell you how. You want to see how I explain manifestation? Man, y'all weren't expecting a manifestation is to put a physical form to something you're thinking about, right? Think about a letter. What is the letter you just thought about?
Okay.
It was a thought, unseen, uncreated, and now it is actually a visual format, right? If you have Play-Doh, you would think of the letter A and then you will form it in Play-Doh. It is just as simple as that. It is just a creation of what I'm seeing. The problem is well, it's not just the effort, is the bigger that thing that you want to create, the more work that it requires, right? So if it's just molding Play-Doh into a letter A, it's easy, simple. And that's why it's quick. If it's building a boat, it's gonna take a lot more and a lot longer. The problem is the way we're programmed and have been over the years is that I am manifesting $1 million, which is a big thing. I mean, 1%, to be a part of the 1%, you just got to make $440,000 a year. You don't even have to be a millionaire to be part of the 1%. But people go from $70,000, $80,000 a year to want to make $1 million. And they're like, it's supposed to be easy. No, it's not. It's supposed to be the hardest thing that you will ever go through. It's challenge. It's called a character building circumstance. The more you build your character, the faster. Now, how do some people go backwards? You find athletes, they make it to the big league. Like in college, they are the best, disciplined, clean record, good kid, doing it all. They make it to the big league. All of a sudden, they're going backwards because while they arrive to what they consider the lid, that's it, we made it. There is no higher side of the life. So the beauty about life, you talk about the flower of life, it's continually growing. The law of vibration is continual motion. The moment the motion stops is death. So if you listen right now, obviously it's clean and audio, but you hear that? That's just vibration. That's distinct vibrating right now in our ears. That's distinct vibrating. Now, again, we clean it up in the studio so you guys won't hear it. but you know, everything is in constant motion. So what do I have to do? I have to move my cellular activities, my neurons that are connected with electricity. Your brain delivers about 10,000 kilowatt hour. Do you know that your house goes over 1,100 kilowatt hour to 2,000 kilowatt hour for the whole month? And your brain right now produces about 10,000 kilowatt hour of electricity.
A month worth of electricity.
Think about that in our body. But go ahead and touch that thing right now. Put your finger in electric wire. What happens? You fry yourself. Why? See, it is the actual level of manifestation that is just required to arrive to the next level of greatness. Most people don't even put the effort of manifesting. In other words, envisioning what they want. I'll give it to you in the easiest way possible. Anybody hungry?
Oh, yeah.
Manifestation. You think about something you want to eat, like, I want to eat. And immediately your body is manifesting an effort. Then you go get it, right? If you take that very simple approach, you can do anything that you want. You just have to discipline yourself from where I am to where I want to be. And that thing that I want may require a year or 10 years, or it may be as easy as one day for me to require it. And I mean, you know, that's just the physical part.
Interesting part. Right.
I'm about to say that's crazy because that's kind of what happened with the power washing situation.
Right. It is, yeah.
Like, literally, that's what happened. Like I literally put my mind to, and I was just talking to someone in the car about it. I was like, all it takes is for you to actually put your mind to something and just do it, because you visualize what you see, right?
See?
So you're visualizing, so you have to put in, like, it's like planting the seed. Like you don't even want to say you got to plant that seed and water the seed for the tree to grow, right?
That's
So
right.
you have to keep going at it,
Nurturing those
thoughts.
thoughts.
And as you're going through it, like for me personally, when I go through certain things, like I do bring like spirituality into it. Like I was telling
You have to.
Like I'll talk to God, but like, look, whatever I need to do, I mean, to achieve this, like just show me the way, and I'll make sure that I'll put forth the effort for it to get done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Can I tell you how that works? I'll blow your mind away, bro. Can I have my moments?
Yeah.
You empower me.
Yes, man. Amen. I'm listening. And I'm gonna say something. Let me say one thing about
Go
this
for it.
character.
Go for it.
Oh, you got it. The character part, I think it begins. You said it perfectly.
Character building.
Character is how you show up, right? These character building moments, right? But I think that before we make that, we show up, we have to make a promise, and that promise is where we determine our character is going to be, or how we're going to portray that character. You know what I mean? I think of it like that, because inside of ourselves, even if we can't keep a promise, the promise that we make to ourselves is how we end up deciding what we're going to show up as, or who we're going to show up as. Inside of myself, you have the same opinion as me about me that he has.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody that knows me, because of the promise that I made to myself. You know what I mean? Like the promise you made to yourself to be there for your kids. Promise that you made to yourself to be the pleaser, You know what I mean? For your wife, your children,
Yep,
your
yep.
business associates.
And that's again, when we started before we went into a full blown interview, we said like, there's no good without bad, there's no wealth without poverty.
That's
That
right.
it has to
It has to
be,
be,
you know,
yeah,
it's
both.
the low polarity, right? There's always an equal and an opposite in everything that we are. Man, I sound like Terrence Howard. Damn, bro. Okay, let me stop.
This
So-
don't sound like that Billy guy.
No, let me just because it's such an important piece that I want to highlight with you when you bring spirituality into it. That's where the magic happens, and I'll tell you what I mean. I'll give you an example of again analogies. I'll give you an example, and then I'll bring it back to the teaching part. Right? We all have kids. Our children want a toy. Right? Think about that toy that the kid wanted in the house, whatever that may be. Right? We want to give them that toy. We always want to give. I mean, which parent does not want to give the kid the toy, the tablet, and all that stuff, right? But the kid asks, like, "Hey, Dad, can I please have the tablet?" And you're like, "Not right now." Why not? Well, you got to clean up your room. You got to finish your food. You got to do your homework. You want to give him the toy. He wants to give the toy. So there's an incident that we both can agree on, but there's a lack of alignment. Meaning the creator of that incident, you giving the tablet, and the co-creator of that incident, him receiving the tablet,
Requires.
are out of alignment.
Mhm.
So the idea of a coincidence where like, yo, I was just thinking about you, right?
Oh,
How does that happen? How does that happen, right? So we, the children, like, yo, God, man, I would love to get a hot Bentley right now, man. That would be great. I just want a Bentley. I want a Continental. I want two-seated. I want a gray, man, just chrome rims. And I want an interior that's caramel, right? That's the instance. The higher power, God, wants to give me that. So guess what? Yo, fellas, let's start building that Bentley. I want it. He wants to give it to me. We are out of alignment, though. Here's what happens. Here's the out of alignment. Ja will be talking to me like, you checked into the insurance? I hear insurance is really expensive. My mind says like, yo, man, what if the insurance is really expensive? And I hear the oil changes once a year is like $700 a year. I didn't think about that. And you know the maintenance? So what happens? The enthusiasm of the creator wanted to give me this toy, this car, right? And then I'm like, all these bad things that are going to come from it. So there's a lack of alignment where the incident creator and the co-incident creator, right? That coincidence are out of alignment. And then guess what happens? Yo, why don't you hold on for a second? Because I'm not trying to give him this thing that's probably going to hurt him because where his mindset is right now, he's not prepared to go make that big money to afford that big car. He's not prepared to be ready for. So there's a lack of alignment. So when you talk to God, higher power, guess what you're doing? You're saying, speak into me what I need to know from you so we can both be in alignment, so we can both create this thing that you want to give me and I want to receive from you. So little boys and little girls all around the world, if you want to manifest and create things, you need a sense of spirituality into your life. And listen, I'm not trying to force my belief system on anybody, but if the creator and the co-creator are out of alignment, you can be the most talented human being in anything. And you will find yourself like Job saying, why? Why did you take it away from me? Why? I did everything right. I did this and I did this and I did this and I did that. There was a lack of alignment, my man. Your faith was so weak that I had to take those things away from you to bring it right back so you can have 10 times bigger, better, stronger.
I like that. I like the way that you said that. I like it. And
Tell them how
right,
great I am, Josh.
that wow, bro. Wow. I just want to tell on that. I just want to add something to that because the idea of that alignment, right, is something that we take too much responsibility for.
Yeah.
See, in the beginning, some people who are spiritual, religious, whatever, they believe that God made man in his image and likeness, right? And the idea of the likeness, right?
So there's a problem there. You said a lot. That is a full seminar. You know what I find an issue with that? No, I'll tell you why. You said a lot of religious leaders. The problem and the beef that I have with religious leaders, and that could be a whole different episode, is that, yes, it is documented in every Abrahamic religion that God created us in his image. But these scholars and leaders and whatever you want to rule, you want to give them, have created themselves in the image of God.
But that's the thing. That's the thing.
Every time I hear that, I'm like,
that's a beautiful way to
go on.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to think about it. They did try to create themselves into his image, right? But the idea that I'm trying to push is the fact that when we have this mindset about us to have something like a Bentley or a business or whatever, right? That didn't start. It didn't originate in us, because we can't. I mean, in science, we don't know where thoughts come from. Thoughts, thoughts are where things come from, but we don't know where thoughts come from. So when we think about, okay, where did the original idea for me to have a car anyway? Why is it that I need a car? Let it be a Bentley or whatever kind of car it is. And what are the things that are required of me to have that car? All that conversation is it comes after the initial promise that you will have everything that you need to achieve what it is that you came to this life for, which is the root of the spiritual experience, to say, I'm here and I don't know what's coming, but I know I'm here for a reason, right? I know there's a reason for me to be here. So Heavenly Father God, we say, speak into me, right? But the idea of him speaking into you, or even him doing things, for me, as as a son of a priest, deaconess, and all of the studies that I've come through have made me understand that, hey, there is no work for God. For the Most High, he doesn't do anything like that. He's not interceding and injecting his influence on these things. That doesn't happen like we think about it, like it used to happen in the Bible. The ideas that we see in the Bible were taught to me in a different way. But in the Torah and but the idea is that inside of us there's an inherent ability. There's an inherent gift, right? And that is success. Whether it happens in one lifetime or 10 lifetimes, or whether it happens in a week or a month, is determined by how we accept what we were given. Acceptance is at the heart of this coincidence, right? Because you accept the responsibility of giving your son the iPad because you bought it for him, right? You know that he wants it, and you want to satisfy his desires, right? So when you think about where God comes into that, right? Where does God come into you giving your son an iPad made by a person in order to distract us from what it is that's going on in the natural world? Or maybe it's make us more passionate about going, all of those things. When we come into, oh God, do something for me, I don't believe in that. I believe that faith is the manifestation of what we know, and the faith is an act. So they say faith without works is dead.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is that if we don't apply what we know, whatever you know is not really growing. It's not going to benefit you or the people who you want to serve. So the idea is coming to this place where you say, okay, even though the insurance is going to be this much, you know what I mean? This is how I'm going to afford it. You know what I mean? It's the coming into getting past the things that you don't know, to accept that God has already given you everything that you need. You know what I mean? So he never has to do anything for you.
Right. Well, and that's unfortunately where my connection to higher power, to God, to spirituality is strong from a personal standpoint, right? I meditate a lot, I pray a lot. My beef is that religion has become an eco-social economic movement.
Right.
It's no different than politics. It became, all about rank, title, ego, and that's not. And again, I was born Muslim. I studied enough of Torah, and since 2012, my whole family have been deep into Christianity. And I don't say that in any disrespect to any faith or any. I believe genuinely that the Abrahamic faith is the same from its essence, from its root. The problem that I have again is, I get a lot of, do you believe in God? I always ask which one, because there's 2,000 of them.
Right.
Right. Let's start there, right? Do you believe in the Word of God? Okay, which one? There's 850 denominations.
Right.
Isn't that the same team?
Many different words.
Right. Oh no, it expanded. I understand and I agree, but your perspective is limited by your knowledge. Mm-hmm. And my knowledge is inspired by my belief system. So, we can go for decades and ages and talk about the essence of God. I believe that God appears to those who want to see God in the form that they're comfortable with. If you see, there are people who see God in doves. You know, back in Old Testament, old stories of the prophets. You know, God appeared in light. God appeared in a burning bush. God appeared in a dove. God appeared in, you know, all these in water, in all these different forms. You know, because that person's faith was so interconnected with the higher power that higher power appeared. In the same sense that you may just be asleep in a dream, and that's God speaking to you within your own dreams. So I think it's arrogance for me to be like, well, how do you know? You know, like, bro, that is an interconnection. And I genuinely believe that each one of us have God within us. And when you insult somebody and disrespect somebody, you're just essentially exactly, you know.
I feel the same way. So that's what brought us three together. We all acknowledge the God in each one of us. And I see God in you. I see myself in you, Ali. I see myself in you, Rob. You know what I mean? And I think that's why I feel at peace, because you saw me dealing with everybody the same way. I love everybody and I accept everybody. I receive that love that God gifted us to be with each other. I could be dead and alone in the deepest, darkest crevice of space somewhere. You know what I mean? But I'm here with you. You know what I mean? That's a coincidence that, you know, I don't think it's a coincidence. I think we all
no. It is a coincidence. It's just the word coincidence is misunderstood. People think coincidence is a random act. No, a coincidence is an intentional act that was created by a creator and a co-creator for an incident. That's why it's called coincident.
I like that. You said that, and I did. It went over my head. Right?
So whenever you're like, "Yo, it's such a coincidence," I was just thinking about you. Yes, that means that I was thinking about you too. We both were in alignment in a moment. So you were thinking about Ali. Ali was thinking about Josh, and then all of a sudden, in the perfect timing in our mind, God was like, "All right, it's time."
Align. Right.
If you accept that, you're a father. If you accept that, you know, there's so much beauty that happens in the world. Like, you know, and I think more people have to be aware that, yes, I believe that God's word is real in its whole essence. I believe that it's perfect. Like, you can't. You know, you can argue with history, but there's just so many things that are beautiful and good. And I use it as a guidance to life.
Yes.
And going back to what you said, like, you know, it's supposed to be an act. It's not, you know, faith and belief is an act. Like when you tell somebody, I love you, okay, you say it and that's good. But are you actually doing it? You know what I mean? Like, you know, love is a verb. It's a verb. You know, faith also is a verb. Like, don't tell me, like, if I have to find out about your faith from Facebook, we got a problem, you know, you know, like,
I can't see it.
Like that's okay. You support, you know, Israel, you support Palestine. No, you're supporting a political view. Your faith is what you are actually doing when no one is seeing.
That's right.
You know, how are you actually making the world a better place? I think we just started another podcast episode.
Yeah, that is
wrap it up for today. So listen,
Yeah.
I wanna wrap it up and say, first of all, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to reminisce and relive a lot of moments. You know,
thank you,
bro, me back. Absolutely. So talk about you know, coincidence today. You know, Mr. Krapowski, shout out to him. Mr. Krapowski, by the way, an amazing teacher and an incredible realtor. So I'm going to put his information in there. If you are in New Jersey and you need a realtor, he focuses on $1 million luxury homes. So you definitely want to hit him up. And he's your go-to guy. And if this is a reel, I have a picture of him right here. Like I'm projecting it. There's a picture and his phone number right in here. If this is a reel right now, Mr. Krapowski. Yeah, he's cool. But you know, Monmouth Regional came into the mix today, and he zoomed from Monmouth Regional class. You know, with the class.
Oh, that's cool.
Remember Miss Air?
No.
Algebra teacher.
Oh, I hated math.
All right, well, she passed, unfortunately. Yeah.
Oh man.
Cancer, yeah. But anyways, listen. I appreciate you. I know it's the first time you and I meeting together. I genuinely mean it from the bottom of my heart. I'm rooting for you.
Appreciate it.
We'll make sure that we plug, your information in the comments. So anybody in New Jersey power washing, definitely to connect with you. And we're gonna be doing some music together. Coming up very soon. So
very soon.
we got a couple of trips,
New
a couple of things,
tracks.
but we will definitely do the B-sides to some of the tracks that Ja's like, hey, that was good, but we gotta do it better. And of course, I'm looking forward to the magic. Shout out to Rich Tomes on the zeros and zeros. There are no ones and twos, right? Rich Tomes definitely making the magic happen for us. We appreciate you, brother. And shout out to Influencer Attraction Mastery. If you are a learner, if you are an affiliate, if you are a coach, if you are a trainer or speaker, and you need a little bit of a boost on any areas on business development, learning development, personal growth and whatnot, definitely make sure you connect with us. Visit IamViLocity.com. Your boy Ali Mehdaoui is Global Master Trainer, co-founder, and president of the company. Would love to connect with you. Would love to collaborate with you and put some more in your pocket too. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a pleasure. This has been the ME Show. Until next time, peace out, everybody.
Welcome to I Am ViLocity, the innovative learning management system designed with seamless blockchain integration. I Am ViLocity supports coaches, affiliates, creators, and ViLocity members in launching, building, and expanding their businesses or focusing on personal and mindset growth. With the backing of our project team and Founders Advisory Board, who bring over 300 years of combined experience in travel, business, blockchain, and smart contracts, ViLocity Global offers an unparalleled educational experience. Whether you're looking to develop personally or professionally, I Am ViLocity is your space to learn and thrive. And the best part is you can get started with as little as $50 one time in BNB. Explore our key features and LMS with unlimited courses in multiple languages, available to purchase via smart contract. Plus, our 2-tier affiliate model ensures that every student can get paid for their referrals, leveraging blockchain technology. I Am ViLocity is the perfect choice for online entrepreneurs and anyone looking for a simple way to start an online business and get paid instantly. Get $34 per student and up to 12% matching checks for your mentees. What makes I Am ViLocity even better? It's an a la carte course platform that lets you pick the courses that are right for you without forcing irrelevant content. Get back to the person who shared this video with you and get started today.